Hey there, Impact Zone fam. How's it going? A bit of turmoil going on in the world of TNA wrestling, as many of you probably have seen a bit here and there. I honestly don't know whether I want to weigh in on absolutely everything, because some of it I do feel like, well, there is positives and there is negatives to everything in a sense. Some things, like, obviously we can agree to disagree on or what have you, but still I do feel like there is a big issue going on. And I do think, like, you know, like I was saying this to somebody else about something, and I said, well, you know, I don't trust some of the things that might be happening, or people might be coming in, or some of the people that have come in of recent. However, sometimes the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And somewhat, I don't really know where to start and where to begin. But I guess if you guys don't know what's going on, a couple of, especially behind the scenes sort of people have left TNA of late, or just have been released or removed, or whatever you want to say, have come to a mutually decision to depart the company, which I don't really think is that mutual. Maybe there is some mutuality there and frustration there with some of the other people that are in creative, I don't know, or what have you. So Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer are the main two there on the creative side. Tessa Blanchard has also been released, or what have you, whatever you want to say. So that was mainly due to her working CMML, and that being a AEW based company, basically, or a AEW affiliated company. So that was the main, like, reasoning behind her departure. And I again think that I don't know whether Tessa was, like I said so many times with this, that they never really addressed the elephants in the room and that sort of thing with her returning and things like that. And I don't know whether having her on the roster was worth anything or a net positive. I do think she's, like, again, major wrestler, major superstar, but you've got other wrestlers that you could build your divisions around. So I don't know whether she was an asset or what. I don't know. And I don't know what's going to happen to some of the things that she was, like, well, she wasn't involved in a lot, but she had that stable with Mila Moore and Victoria Crawford. So, and I do hope that they stick around at least for a little bit. I do feel like a lot of things are changing and there's a lot of issues going on, and I do feel like one of the biggest things that we need right now is stability. And I do think that I think I should have mentioned this earlier, but, you know, like, there's no great time for anything like this to happen. But especially when you're going into one of your biggest shows of the year, and especially when you've done all the creative and all the TV and all the stuff to lead up to that show. I mean, like, for the show itself, I hope, well, I don't know whether I hope that there's going to be any changes made, because I don't think, like, there are some things that obviously we've complained about and said, hey, this isn't working, or this isn't going anywhere, or it isn't getting there in the right way, or whatever else it is, you know. But whether that will change and whether that will be a positive, again, remains to be seen. It depends who they bring in. There's a lot of rumors around Road Dogg coming into TNA. Now, he's been in, I think we've talked about him here and there in discussions before about TNA. He hasn't really done anything for a while in wrestling since his release. Since he decided to leave WWE quite a while ago. Though I do feel like he might go to AEW because he wants to be with Billy Gunn, or the former Billy Gunn, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, like, again, I don't know. Like, he's had a lot of negative press of late as well. So I don't know whether he's the best person to bring into the company, or not just of late, but like especially of late. But then again, he was frustrated with what was happening in WWE, and he has been to TNA many times. But then again, I don't know whether I trust Road Dogg that much. But then again, like, if he produces a good product, you know, again, proof is in the pudding. So if he does a good job and he makes things happen in the company, then I think it would have been a positive thing overall. I want to talk about Candice Michelle for just a second, because like, this is a factor to me, at least. It hasn't really changed a whole lot, but it did change a while back, and we haven't really talked about it. But I think for a long time, and maybe this is again partly the WWE issue and the crossovers and whatever else and all that other stuff, but the women's division booking has been absolutely trash for the last like several months, like, and I just don't know what you've been doing with it. Like, at least like Zaya's heel turn, that was kind of good, you know, and like but realistically, you haven't built her up enough to be like the big time challenger to Lady Lee, you know, and that sort of thing. So it's sort of in a very awkward position. And I do feel like, again, I said before, stability, that title has changed hands in the last in the last year several times. So instead of, like I said, what did we do this whole story for unless we're going to change the title to Zaya? But after that, we have to, you know, have some stability. We have to have a good 6-month, 8-month, year-long run from Zaya, you know, because this hot potatoing has got to end, you know. And I don't really want to blame Candice solely for all of that, because I can't remember exactly when she came into the bookings and into the decision makings and things like that. So again, I don't want to lay it squarely on her head, but you know, this is what she's inheriting, and now she's like changing things up. And sometimes you need a change up, absolutely, but again, when you've had so many change ups, you know, and instead of like maybe saying, hey, let's change things up and let's take the title off Lay or whatever and give it to Ariana, how about we not have done that? Because that was like a pointless run for the most part anyway, another one that really could have been avoided. And then we'll put it back on Zaya. Like, that was an alright kind of story in a way, but it was done way too quickly. So again, just timing issues. I mean, even if Lay had have retained this whole time, for the last like couple of months or whatever it was, her title reign would still be only like, what, maybe 4 or 5 months long, which is still a fairly short run for the most part. Not the shortest, obviously, but there's reasons to have a short title run sometimes. Like Josh Alexander, there was a reason to have that fairly short title run. I don't even know whether I can consider the Kazarian title run of a month to be like for a reason, but there was sort of a reason behind it, and I think like it did lead to some good things here and there, and it had a few potential moments. But then again, it's just like, well, did we really need to do that, or should we like have done that like earlier or before or whatever, and that sort of thing. And it's tough to say, because again, it's like, well, then you would have had Santana having an even shorter run, but then that would have helped, you know, Kazarian have a little bit longer of a run, and that would have led to, you know, hopefully something bigger at the time that you were trying to make it. And I know that, again, WWE pulled the rug out from underneath that in many ways, but again, so you can only do what you can do, and you can only control what you could control. So again, I don't want to lay the blame purely on them, but like, you should realize, hey, you know, again, let's not rely on WWE to do anything. Because they have done very little to be reliable in doing anything for a long time. So why would we continue to trust them? And that's just from my perspective on the outside, let alone on the inside. If I was on the inside and actually knew some of the like shenanigans or whatever else going on the inside, and some of the chaos going on the inside, I would be even further in the camp of let's not trust this, let's not do too much with this. Like, yes, if they want to send us somebody, or somebody wants to come over here and wants to do something and they've got the approval to do it, okay, let's do something then, but they've got to be dedicated. They've got to be saying, yes, I'll be there every week, yes, I'll be there every month, yes, I'll be there for 4 weeks, 4 months, whatever, 6 months, whatever it is, however long the story takes to culminate and to be done with. And again, like the Ariana Grace storyline, I feel it's a very WWE or NXT style storyline that they more or less just wanted to do on WWE, but since Santino is in TNA, they just decided, well, we'll just do it somewhat in WWE and somewhat in TNA. And again, I do think that they were like, oh, we don't have enough time to tell every beat of this story to an extent. So, hey, whatever, off you go and have your thing. But, again, I just don't think that there's a lot of issues going on in the company right now. And I think we need to settle down. But you might notice my tone in this is I'm trying to be as upbeat as possible. I am trying to point out some of the issues or whatever and whatnot, and at least address some concerns or whatever. But the thing is, I think there's always been a lot of negativity, but there's a lot of negativity right now. So I don't want to be angry or whatever, even though that some of this stuff has made me a bit angry and whatnot. And I do think, hey, like I said, it's tough because there's no good time to do anything. But again, like I said, there's been a lot of creative issues. Maybe it's time for a shakeup. Like we said, it's time for a shakeup. But was this the shakeup that we needed? I don't know. I do think we just need some more positivity and whatnot going around so that we can try to move this thing forward. And even if, again, the decisions that are made don't pan out, at least we're trying to do the best for what we can with the material that is given. So, at least we have some sort of focus on saying, okay, we're focused on the next step. Let's see how that pans out, and hopefully it is a good pan out. But guys, that is pretty much it for this one, I think. I'm gonna go and scream into a wall or whatever to get out some more of my anger and whatnot to an extent. But yeah, guys, let me know what are your thoughts. I do hope that you'll try to be positive there and see if we can come up with a better direction for the company and things like that. Because again, I think a lot of things that were perhaps tentatively penciled in are probably going to be changed. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, and hopefully it will be good. But yeah, guys, hopefully we can tune in to Slamversary, and it'll be a good sold out show, and everything will be back to being positive again, hopefully. Yeah, but anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this one as well, and hope you join me again in another one.